Hey there, guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion, number 311, New Remnants 3, and I'm joined by Bombug as always, and Twitch chat. We're doing this live.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, so this is pretty interesting. There's several cool things covered this week by multiple devs. So we're going to start at the top here. Even more remnants. In Friday Facts 288, we propose that we are considering multiple approaches to remnants, and in Friday Facts 293, so not too long ago, we described that we are choosing the balance solution, which does not obstruct the movement of player if an entity is destroyed. We have recently finished quite a few, which we would like to show you. Show you. I thought there was another word there. So this this is really cool. So on the left side of this picture, you have the uh, you know alive factory, and then on the right, you have like a remnant like factory that got destroyed. That's remnants and like was a connecting part of this.
Hey, this is a super cool way to show it. I really like that. It looks like you can slide it back and forth too.
Oh, can you?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
oh my
uh
God! I didn't know that. Okay, yeah. So, dude, that's so
a
cool.
that for one is really cool, like a website and image design. I like that, but
Yeah,
also showcases the new remnants really well.
yeah, that's
Wow, check that out.
nuts. So, I really like. I mean, I really like all of them, but I mean, yeah, actually, I just really like all of them. It's so cool. Um, I'm a little when I move it back and forth. Never mind, I'm dumb. So oh man, yeah, like the steam engines and the centrifuge and like the railroad tracks and walls. That's just so cool looking.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. It gives it a real what would you call it? Industrial gory sort of feel to it.
Yeah, I love those solar panels. Where were the solar panels again? Down at the
Bottom left.
oh yeah, the solar panels look super cool. Oh man,
Yeah, it's really awesome,
and the
and
train.
they did such a good job of like making sure it's identifiable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like you can pretty much tell what all this is. So I am super impressed by these. One request, and this would have been super cool for the post collapse scenario we're playing, is if these remnants get added into the map editor, and like you can use them in the map editor, but they still have an expiration time like they do in the normal game. So like they'll just like they're remnants, but they'll still go away after like a certain amount of time, I believe. So I feel like having those be permanent, like the ability to have them permanent in the map editor would be really cool because that
Yeah.
would just like
So
allow people to
toggle
do.
as remnant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome because I do really like the feel of the crash site in Novice post collapse where you can see the little destroyed crash site parts of the spaceship. You can
Mm-hmm.
see the streaks across the ground where it was landing, and
Right.
having more of that would be pretty cool for scenarios.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so yeah, this is super neat. Moving on down to general, if you have been following the progress of Remnants in 017 experimental versions, you will probably notice that a lot of them have been changed quite drastically. In general, we are trying to hit the balance between having the Remnant look destroyed enough, but yet still very recognizable, which um, a recognizable entity, which it was. This is especially difficult for tall entities, as the player has to be able to walk over their remnants. The extreme case being train stops, for which we are also implementing a special solution. Um, okay, yeah, that's really cool. So the train stops are recognizable because of the top colored part and the tall scaffold that holds it. Giving the station a color mask was trivial graphically, but our dear Posila needed to add a bit of code to support remnants to have color masks. Keeping the taller towers a bigger problem is if the tower is a part of the remnant sprite, the player would be able to just walk over it, and trains um, would always show on top of it as well. We chose to split the train stop remnants in two layers so the illusion of height is kept, which I think is really neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is a lot of survivors running past there too. Wow.
Yeah, man, that's just it's like clones, like an assembly line. So then remnants with color masks. We also use the color mask for basically everything the player has the ability to change the primary colors of. It includes the locomotive, turrets, car, and tank. Once the entity dies, the color of the given entity stays with the remnant, which I think is also really cool there.
Yeah, that's gonna be really nice. Do they have like an example of that up in the picture?
I believe like the
Oh yeah, the
trains.
train. Yeah, the train's green. Ah,
Yeah,
yeah,
like the
that's really
yellow
cool.
and green.
Green, yellow. Wow, that's a lot of extra work that they did. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, seriously. Um, and then walls. We have updated the wall sprites as well, as we wanted to make the walls more like broken walls instead of random rubble to break their line less. The walls are by far the most destroyed entities besides turrets, so they can look repetitive quickly. To improve this, wall remnants have several sprite variations. Compared to 016, whenever an entity gets destroyed, the player can tell which entity it was. We believe this makes rebuilding your factory much more fun and seeing your things get eaten less frustrating. On top of that, we plan to utilize the remnants to a large degree in the campaign for 1.0 for half destroyed factories to be found and explored. We'll be adding more remnants and improving some further to make this effect even greater, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty fun. That's just a part of their graphics overhaul that I didn't even consider.
Yeah, for sure. I get the impression those players are part of the factory pipeline. I wonder what they're processed into. Tanks. Yeah, so that's the remnants part of the Stratifax. It's just I'm really impressed. Um, Moving down to Community Spotlight Industrial Revolution. Past month, I had the opportunity to balance test an overhaul mod called Industrial Revolution. Now, after 1,000 hours of development, Deadlock has finally released the mod to the public today. In the around 65 hours I've spent playing the mod, I fell in love with it and want to present it to you here. So click to see full resolution. Um, Pretty awesome looking like entities and stuff. Um, so this is Bilka's current base, machines from all ages forming one big factory. The mod gives more depth and length to the vanilla experience by changing the progress throughout the entire game. You work through ages of technology, always chasing the milestone of the next material, just like in vanilla. You start out with the Stone Age and classic burner machinery. Automation is key, even in the Stone Age. The mod adds new intermediate products to all crafting steps to allow automation at this stage. The mod provides burner assembling machines and labs, which that's like a really. There's a few other mods that do that. One called AI Industry does something pretty similar. Um, but I think it's a really neat concept.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. It really does give you the feeling that you don't have electricity just like right off the bat, you know,
Right,
which you
exactly.
pretty much do in Factorio Vanilla, right?
Mm-hmm. I really like these like old looking like furnaces. They look like
Ooh,
yeah,
yeah,
like a medieval style.
that looks really cool. I don't know if you've seen that YouTube channel, Primitive Technology,
Yeah,
but seeing those old furnaces get made, ooh, it's pretty awesome.
yeah, it's super neat. Um, so then however instead of getting to power as soon as possible, the next goal is bronze, an alloy made from the two starting resources, tin and copper. After improving the factory of bronze machines and automating logistics science packs, the Iron Age is not far away. With it comes power, oil processing, and trains, allowing rapid expansion of the factory. The Steel Age unlocks better ore refining techniques and powerful machinery, paving the way to the rocket. Beyond the ages, the mod introduced new types of turrets, each with their advantages and disadvantages. On top of all these gameplay differences, the mod boasts incredible graphics and good sounds. Yeah, looking at these graphics is like in these animations in these three buildings is insane.
Yeah, that is really pretty. I like that a lot. Seeing
Yeah,
those little saws come down.
yeah, and like the
Ooh,
lasers working and stuff. It's
yeah.
super high quality.
Several people made this mod, right? Contributed graphics and stuff.
I'm not sure. I mean the creator is a guy named Deadlock, and Bilka helped test it, but I'm not sure like
It
what
says almost all of the original graphics are by Deadlock.
Okay, yeah, so he
Wow,
must have like 3D modeling and animation experience.
that's super cool.
Yeah. Um, So when you started testing the mod, I was expecting a longish casual playthrough with some different recipes. What I got instead was an addiction and a whole appreciation for the concepts the mod adds and changes. Different challenges, more logistic puzzles, and completely new recipes, refreshing the whole experience. The extended burner phase in the mod introduced an unconventional problem to me: fueling burner inserters and assemblers. Combined with my spaghetti approach and limited space due to the enemies lurking in the distance or desert around me, fueling inserters became a challenge that I spent hours on. My proudest creation is an electric motor assembler. It needs four inputs, all supplied by burner inserters that need to be fueled by other inserters. The assembly stands to this day. Oh my gosh,
Oh
yeah.
man. Yeah, I see he definitely has to split and bring fuel on the same lines as materials just to make it work.
Yeah, exactly. It's super crazy. And just like, man, these graphics are nuts. Like just looking at this like that, like power pull and stuff is like totally different than like a vanilla
Wow.
one. And
Yeah.
like
He went all the way, man, to really make this
seriously,
feel.
I can see why this like took like 1,000 hours. Oh my god. Um, Another great change by the mod is how it deals with ore processing. Ore processing allows the player to improve how many ingots can be produced from ore, up to producing twice as many ingots. This happens in steps. Every age introduces a new technology to refine ore. So getting more iron means building an extra ore processing step and simply connecting it between the last processing step and smelting. Each refining setup has its own challenges, such as multiple outputs or needing a catalyst, so it becomes an interesting puzzle to get more ingots. The new ore processing flows well with the rest of the game. Oftentimes I found that I needed an ore refining byproduct and more ore refining at the same time. This is a big improvement compared to the vanilla way of getting more plates, mine yet another ore patch, and smelt it in the same old boring way. Um, and then so here's an example of gold being mined, crushed, and purified to increase its yield before smelting it, all in one area.
That seems like it gives you a lot of opportunity to do the refactoring of your base, because if you're already maybe there's like four refining technologies, and if you've already set up a base for two of them, then once you get the third one, you may not have space, and so you're gonna have to do a lot of refactoring,
Mm-hmm.
which
Right.
is interesting and fun. Sometimes depends on your feelings on the matter, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is really neat. And again, the graphics I'm seeing here are just pretty nuts.
I'm kind of curious about that. That sounds like modules as buildings, which is an interesting concept, right?
Yeah,
Instead
it
of
kind
just
of
saying,
does.
hey, increasing your output, you're saying, hey, you can increase your output, but you have to build the steps to do so, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, totally.
Looking at the image, though, it looks like there are some modules on some of the buildings as well. So I don't think it's like a total replacement, just in addition.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just an addition. Um, and of course, adding more intermediates also means that you run the risk of only ever needing a product for one other recipe. The mod manages to avoid this pitfall. I find myself routing belts and pipes to a factory because an item is needed in multiple different places. Another possible problem is that the long burner phase, it could delay automatic construction. This is prevented by the addition of very early personal construction robots. The clockwork punk pods can be used with an automatically refueling burner generator that fits into heavy armor, all available in the Bronze Age,
Mm.
which is a really really neat addition too. Because like having bots earlier just really helps kind of eliminate or slow or like mellow down the grind.
Yeah, and having bots earlier makes you a better player in some ways, in that like you don't want to self craft as much, right? If you're going for like that, isn't that like the lazy bastard achievement
Mm-hmm.
to like not do self crafting and stuff? So
Yeah.
like having bots and doing less self crafting makes you focus more on the real core of the game, instead of just, oh, I need to move my character over here, drop this thing, click this thing. You're really focusing on, I need to plan this
Right.
and really make it happen.
Yeah. Totally. That's a super good point. Um, yeah. It just adds like so many benefits. And then in addition to that, Vanilla's boring defenses become more varied with the new turret types. The first turret you unlock is a bronze scatter gun turret. It works similarly to a shotgun. These turrets are great at taking out groups and still make up a large part of my defenses. However, their range is lower than that of a medium spitter or medium spitters. Therefore, minigun turrets and laser turrets guard my more commonly attacked areas. So you can kind of see showcasing all these different ones, the laser turrets, and then like the orange reddish ones are the scattergun, and then the normal turrets, which are similar looking to vanilla, but still like a little reworked.
Seems pretty good. Definitely thinking defenses may be used earlier on now. If you're staying in the burner phase for longer, you're going to be making a lot of pollution. So you actually really need to consider your defenses and actually use the turrets early on.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Um, so this is really neat. Like, I'll have to look into it more. I'll have to consider doing a playthrough. There is a caveat though that's not mentioned in this Friday Facts, and I only know about because someone in my stream mentioned it. Apparently there's a license because when like mods that are released have licenses, and most of them are pretty lax in terms of like what you can do with it and stuff. Um, but this one has a very strict license in regards to basically making any content of the mod and monetizing it. You have to, based on what people showed me, the license basically requires you to contact the dev and get like written explicit permission from them um, to make content of the mod that you monetize, like if you want to monetize it. Um, which, like, I don't know. I don't really understand the reasoning behind that. Someone put like I was wondering, and apparently the dev like made a response that someone quoted, like showed me, and the response seems like a little bit ridiculous. That basically they put like 1,000 hours into the mod, and that they don't want people just like making a living off of making content with their mod, but I don't I don't know. Like maybe I'm just being like super weird, but I feel like that's a little bit weird because it's like in my opinion, like if I were to make a playthrough using this mod and monetize my videos, that doesn't detract whatsoever from the mod or the mod developer or the work they've done, because like I'm basically still advertising their mod for them by playing with it. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
no.
I just like so that's a caveat. Like if there are people who watch this who like want to who make videos and like want to monetize those videos or stream it, you need to make sure that you like check out the license and ask the dev of this mod specifically and get an answer from them if you're allowed to monetize it or not, because like 99% of the other mods aren't like this, so you may not think of it, and I wouldn't have. But it's worth mentioning in there because um, I think that's kind of an interesting way to go about it.
Yeah, that is pretty curious. I feel like a lot of the mods that I've seen use like an MIT license or GPL license, which are pretty standard software licenses that are really sort of free form and open. Uh, they're just licenses that are used across the industry to say, hey, here is my license. Don't be just like stealing my work, but feel free to use it. Kind of a feeling to those licenses.
Right.
Let me take a look at his license here. So pull it up on what GitHub.
Like I
Where's
don't
that?
since I don't really know licensing, like I don't even know if I'm allowed to like open this link to the mod portal of his thing since I'm monetizing this video. Like,
Uh,
it's like the only reason I feel comfortable discussing it in the Friday Facts is because I think that falls under free use since like it was like someone else already displayed it and I'm just like showing what's already there.
yeah. I mean, it should be fine to open it and discuss it. I don't think that would count against the monetizing in any like reasonable.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so your take on it is As long as you're not costing him money, it should be fine, right?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's an interesting license that he has. If I can find it, just from what you're saying, I actually can't really find the link here. Isn't there like a GitHub page normally attached to this?
Well, if you like go to the mod portal and search it, usually there's like I think there's a section on the mod portal under the mod for like what license it's using.
Yeah, it looks like it just redirects back to itself.
Oh, okay. Oh, apparently it's inside the zip download.
Okay,
So
cool,
that.
cool.
So yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'll
Like
download it and open it up.
there was discussion. Like I guess there was just a ton of discussion about this on the forums. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not gonna like draw out this video, but I think it's an interesting topic because, um, especially the reply the dev gave that, um, that they put a ton of work into the mod, and they don't think someone else should be making money off of it, like unless he allows it.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's curious. I kind of understand where he's coming from. Um, I don't like the over monetization of like everything
Mm-hmm.
all around us all the time. I do generally feel like there's two groups of thought that are pretty popular, along with a lot of other sub ones. One is as long as I'm not making them lose anything, I should be able to monetize it for myself, right? Because it kind of goes along with the general discussion about piracy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and you can say, hey, if I don't buy this personally, or if I don't like pirate something, I may not ever have the chance to get it and enjoy it. And by pirating games and stuff, I'm not costing anyone anything technically. And so a lot of people are all for it because it's basically just adding some enjoyment to the world, right? You're not costing anyone anything, but you are giving them access to something fun. Um, and then the other idea is that someone has the ability to lock down something that they make, be it for profit or just to say, hey, nobody else can show this. Even you can play it, but you can't show it, and that's okay too. It's something that they made, and they can decide that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I kind of like the idea of making a mod and saying, hey, no one can monetize this in any way. Um, I do kind of like that idea personally, just because I don't want people to maybe download it, reskin it, and sell it themselves or something. Like maybe if you made your own server and you were selling spots for the server with that mod running, you're kind of making money off of it. I don't know.
I
It's
mean, I
interesting. I get
guess.
where he's coming from, though. I do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting topic. I think I don't know. Like, could discuss it for a long time. I think I'm gonna end the video. Because I mean, pretty much everything with Friday Facts was covered.
Yeah.
So that's it, guys. Super cool Remnants. Really cool looking mod. And that I mean, definitely looks like it's worth playing. Just that caveat if you do plan to make videos of it and try to monetize them. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it. As always, thank you so much for watching. Um, Thank you, Twitch chat, for being here and providing your feedback. And we will see you next time.
See ya.